And we're going to check in on the British pound to start off with. Reached record lows, didn't it, on Monday? Let's get back to earth with a bump, Charles.
Yeah, it blew up in a way. Before we see, though, how the pound is currently trading, it's worth reminding our viewers that this dramatic drop took place after the unveiling of the UK's new fiscal policy for the Liz Truss government and her Chancellor of the Exchequer, Kwasi Kwarteng. The markets reacted poorly to a trickle-down economics plan that promises a raft of tax cuts without any apparent way to finance them except with more borrowing. So to stabilize the price of the pound, we then saw a coordinated communication strategy from both the Chancellor of the Exchequer and the Bank of England. The Bank of England issued a statement saying it would not hesitate to change interest rates to keep inflation under control. And Kwasi Kwarteng issued his own statement vowing to accelerate the development of a plan to keep public debt under control. Bank of England, however, keeping its assessment of the government's economic policy for its next scheduled meeting in November, so excluding an emergency rate hike for the present. Now, let's see how the pound is trading in Asia this morning. About 15 minutes ago, it stabilized around the $1.08 mark, up from the close yesterday, but still at a historic low. And heading to Asia now with another growth forecast that will raise concerns in Beijing. After the Asia Development Bank last week, the World Bank this week is predicting that China's growth in 2022 will lag behind that of the rest of the region, the first time since 1990. The financial institution saying China's GDP growth this year will be of 2.8% compared to 8.1% in 2021, as you can see here, while the rest of East Asia and the Pacific will see a 5.3% GDP increase this year compared to 2.6%. Last year. This reflects China's strong rebound after the first year of the pandemic from 2020 to 2021, thanks partly to its strict zero COVID policy. But that same policy ended up creating problems this year, with more infectious variants leading to more lockdowns affecting economic activity. Also a factor in the Chinese slowdown, the meltdown of the real estate market, which represents about a third of China's GDP. Let's take a look at the markets now. In Asia, we're seeing mixed trading following a negative start to the week. You can see that Nikkei in Tokyo up by almost 0.5%, while the Kospi in Seoul down almost by 1%. And investors really selling off equities in the current context of surging interest rates and currency market troubles, as we saw at the close on Wall Street on Monday, with the Dow Jones down by 1%, as well as the S&P 500. Companies in the U.S. being asked by President Joe Biden to do their part in alleviating the financial pressure felt by U.S. households because of the rise in inflation. He gave the example of scrapping fees like banking overdraft charges, or simply asking oil companies to reduce their prices. Take a listen.
The companies running gas stations and setting those prices at the pump, bring down the prices you're charging at the pump to reflect the cost you pay for the product. Do it now. Do it now. Not a month from now, do it now. And it's going to save people a lot of money.
Joe Biden speaking at the Competition Council in D.C. here. Well, a report from the OECD released Monday says the world economy will take a bigger hit than previously forecast next year because of the effects of Russia's war in Ukraine. The organization cut next year's growth forecast for the global economy to 2.2%. That's down from the estimate of 2.8%, which was given in June. One of the challenges fueling this drop in growth is the spiraling energy crisis, which we really can't stop talking about here. Now, many are looking for alternative and more sustainable ways to produce energy. Well, Yinke Oyetaide has been looking at how a neighborhood in Madrid is doing just that.
It's now the must-have roof accessory in this housing development located in Madrid. Faced with mounting energy bills, residents in Rosa Luxemburgo are taking their power back, collectively installing solar panels in a bid to become energy efficient.
I've had 15 solar panels installed with a power of 5,500 watts. It gives me enough energy for my home, and I don't pay a penny on the bill.
A few years ago, this may not have been possible. But in 2018, Spain dropped its notorious sun tax, which levied taxes on those who chose to generate their own electricity with solar panels. paving the way for a new law which for the first time included the concept of energy communities. The legislation allows individuals, families and neighbourhoods like Rosa Luxemburgo to produce their own renewable power. Echo, an energy cooperative which helped with the installation, says changes to the law coupled with the cost of living crisis amped the request it receives by 213%.
Spain had what we at Echo call solar phobia. We were afraid of the sun, of solar energy, and there was a lack of citizen action. Since the last changes in legislation, we are experiencing a boom in self-consumption.
The panels are not only keeping rocketing energy bills at bay and homes powered, it's also good for the planet. Thanks to the solar panels, Echo says Rosa Luxemburgo's annual CO2 emissions will drop by 240 tonnes.
No shortage of sun in Spain to fuel that energy.
Yeah, that cheered us up a little bit. It's been freezing here in Paris the last 24 hours. Thanks very much, Charles.